Howdy guys, yes I am back. Just give me 1 minute. Yes, it has been one of those crazy months where I thought I was going to be sort of rugged up and taking it easy, but no, I kind of got inspired to really start creating and stuff. So I'm going to jump right in. Hey there, yeah, I've been pretty good actually. Just give me a second, I'm just checking the audio. Yep, sounds great. Yes, I have been very well. This is kind of a part two to this one that I started yesterday. So, I guess a few updates. It finally stopped raining, which is great because oh, absolutely, yeah. I think June is gonna be pretty amazing. Like if May was this good, then June is definitely going to be absolutely awesome. I've got a very good feeling about this upcoming month. Um, yeah, because I've kind of been in building mode for most of May when it comes to this channel, sort of figuring out what I want to do with it. And I've pretty much settled on live streams and shorts, mostly because that's really the only stuff that I find gets consistent views. Oh, look, I mean, it's fantastic that you've embraced making your own store and everything. I think that's amazing. Like just the power of all these like tools at our disposal, like just on our phones and stuff. Like it's kind of amazing what phones can do. Like I remember when like mobile phones were sort of first being introduced, and like back in the 1990s, they were absolute bricks. Like you look at a phone even from the movie The Matrix, which is like nearly 30 years old at this point. And, people still quote The Matrix like it came out, last week and everything, but that movie is actually very old at this point. Hey there, Japan. Good to see you. I can only read the Japan part of your username. I can't read anything else. So this is how you get flawless straight lines using Procreate. So what you do is you take the pen and you just hold it, and it will automatically snap into a straight line. Now, the thinness and thickness of that line can depend on, the pressure that you apply to the pencil itself, but everything else is handled by the app. Now the curved lines, not so much. I mean, you can draw like a circle, and if you hold it, it will like snap to an oval or an ellipse. And if you place your finger like on the screen next to it, it'll become a perfect circle. Well, almost perfect. You can kind of see, if you look closely, you can kind of see that the line weight is not consistent, but that's very easy to fix. So yeah, definitely. So what prompted the name change to Poppers Official? Was the previous one like sort of a placeholder, or did you want to like just brand yourself a little bit differently? Because I find each YouTuber has a different story, something unique about them that makes them special. I mean, as for me, I just love what I do, and I hope to spread my business, or at least grow my business, doing this. Because I find when it comes to live demonstrations, this platform is absolutely perfect for that kind of thing. And these things are a little bit like sort of a cross between the horns and I don't know, I guess like a samurai's mask. See, I've made this comment before, and I've actually made similar videos. Well, I've recorded similar videos about it, but uh, most of the Saturday morning cartoons, the stuff we used to watch as kids, um, especially in the 1980s, that was all made primarily in Japan back then. So, technically speaking, if you watched cartoons, like Western made cartoons, like stuff, um, you know, made by various studios, that was technically anime. Like if you watch like old 1980s Thundercats or GI Joe or Mask or Silverhawks or Braveheart or what's another one? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's another one. Captain Planet. That was all animated in Japan. I saw the trailer for the new Spider-Man series. That looks pretty fun. It's got Nicolas Cage as Spider Noir, which I think is. Hey, how's it going? So yeah, they had an interview with him, Spider Noir, and he was being drawn by this other artist, and yeah, this guy he sits with like a pad and a pencil, and he just draws this portrait of Nicolas Cage as he's like describing the movie and everything, and I'm like, that is so cool. I would love to do that one day. The thing is, I don't actually draw that style, like, well, at least not live. Drawing a portrait with pencil just is something that I haven't done in a very long time. So I'm gonna have a bit of a practice run and see how good I can get that particular skill, because I haven't practiced drawing that style in God since I was at college. So let's start putting in some of his color. So this used to be called Sketch Jam back in the day. When I first started out, I used to call it Sketch Jam, but I decided there's too much, like, I was overthinking how to put each episode together, and I was like, just building out these elaborate and, kind of pointless video thumbnails and, trying to place everything. And I just thought, you know what, dude, just jump in, have a draw, have a chat, see what you come up with. And just sort of, chill out and enjoy yourself. It's just a bit of fun. Do the whole dedicated hobby thing, and yeah, things will all work out. So that's how I started to approach it, and it's starting to work. It can be slow going, but once it picks up a bit of momentum, then you never know where it's going to take you. It's actually really cool. Oh, excellent. What, if you don't mind me asking, what are you drawing right now? So I'm just blocking in the color so I can come back to this later. Look, that's okay. Like, if you're just doing like sort of a freehand sketching thing, that's fine. Like, sometimes you just have to do a bit of a warm-up drawing before you can figure out where you actually want to take the art itself. Like, that's the interesting thing. Like, sometimes I will just find myself, just doing the warm-up sketches where I'm just like, a good warm-up sketch is you just start drawing shapes, just circle, triangle, square, hexagon, star shape, and like then you sort of progress to more complicated shapes, like anything that you can sort of visually remember, because it's about how to visualize. And speaking of visualization, I found out that there are people that, when they're asked to imagine something, they just can't. It is the most unnerving condition, like harmless way of being that I've ever heard of. And it's called aphantasia. And it quite literally means that if you close your eyes and somebody asks you to visualize, say, a house or like a piece of fruit or like just basically anything in your mind's eye, you can't do it without actually looking at it. And yeah, you need to have your eyes open, and you actually have to be focusing on the thing in order to like describe the thing in your head. Because like as soon as you stop looking at it, you forget what it looks like. And I heard this described, and I'm like going, that can't be a real thing. Because I have only ever known a world a world where I can do that. Like, I can absolutely say, visualize like an apple. It's a red apple. It's, standard size. It's just a regular store-bought supermarket, labeled organic, marked down for quick sale because it's got a bit of a blemish. You take it home, you cut it up into slices, you realize there's a worm in one of those slices, so you throw the whole thing out. In fact, you just put it in the compost heap, and I can visualize that entire thing even without saying it. And I've always had that ability to visualize. And when I found out that there are literally some people out there that do not have the ability to imagine anything, I can kind of see why AI has been so useful for quite a few artists out there, or people who claim to be artists. And they're just like, oh, well, I type this thing in, and, this app on my phone, which may or may not be harvesting my data, just magicked it out of thin air for me. It's one of the things about AI that I find really, really cool, but honestly a little bit more than terrifying at times. Because it really is like astonishingly good. Like those criticisms that we were making about it not too long ago, like, oh, it can't get hands right, or it just does seem to be a bit uncanny valley. It's like a lot of those issues, a lot of those, things where it's putting too many fingers on a hand, or it's, making like eyes look weird, or it's just, animating something that would never happen in real life. A lot of those issues with AI have either been updated or fixed entirely. And I heard like Elon Musk say that at the moment, like it is like the language models are currently smarter than every human being that's ever lived. And I heard this comedian ranting about it, and he said, computers have always been smarter than me. I don't know where this idea that, like, computers are, somehow not smarter than, like, every human. Because that's been, and I have to agree with the guy, like, that's been my experience from day one as well. And I grew up before the days of the Pentium. I remember our home computer was a 486. And if anyone's like, in their 40s who knows exactly what I'm talking about, or who can, like, just jump on a search engine to find out what I'm talking about, that is an old computer. It's not like embarrassingly old, like a Commodore 64, but it's close. But yeah, he said, oh, look, I can't figure out, he goes, I can't figure out how to play solitaire. Like, Minesweeper is beyond me. And these are free games that come with, like, Microsoft Word, not Microsoft Word, Windows. And I'm inclined to agree. Like, the guy does, have a very salient point. So, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not necessarily, and I doubt I ever will be, like genuinely scared of AI. It's just that's just not how I am. I think if anything, it's kind of like uniting us as humans, like as as communities and people, more so than ever before. Like, oh, okay, so maybe we really do have more in common than we would like to admit, and maybe we actually um, have a genuine apocalypse threat, apocalypse level threat on our hands potentially. Because I heard Pope Leo say, AI needs to be disarmed, and I'm like, does it though? Because right now, for instance, I use Grok. I find Grok is actually pretty fun. I mean, it does have a lot of limitations, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Like, it can only do so much. Its abilities to help you with editing photos it is there, but it's limited. And this may just be the fact that I'm only using like a very sort of basic paid subscription version of the app. But man, like, if that's the extent of its abilities, it still has still has a long way to go. Like, it can do some pretty impressive and sometimes downright scary things. Like, I swear I had it like just add some animations to a drawing I did, and I swear it felt like I was looking. I had like a little glimpse into a portal that directly led into the. Oh, thank you very much. Just a just a gesture, just a gesture. That's a cool name. I like that name. Yeah, not a problem. If you gotta get ready for a birthday, then yeah, don't let me slow you down or anything. And like I always say, if you missed the live stream, all the episodes are available on my channel. You can watch them at your leisure. Feel literally no pressure to stick around. But I do appreciate you guys being here. Oh, absolutely. Look, I mean, if you have access to like, even if you just do it old school with a, like a notepad or just like a spare piece of copy paper and like a biro, you don't need anything, like literally anything more advanced than this to draw with. Like, this is your standard, you know, pen that you can probably just find like lying around. Like, that's how I sort of taught myself how to draw. I was an easily bored kid, and like I mentioned earlier, like I always had this ability to visualize stuff. And sort of being able to communicate visually, I always I always found that as sort of like the most important like thing. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I am trying to get the channel to 500 subscribers, because that means, like, that's the sort of the minimum to unlock a bunch of features on YouTube, and I want to be able to do that. So yeah, I thank you. I do appreciate every subscription. Absolutely helps. Thank you very much. There's also like the watch time as well, and I'm slowly, getting up there. I find that I get better watch times with my live streams and my shorts than I do with my long form content. But I don't really post a huge amount of long form content, because it's usually, takes a while to edit. And I'm always like, just filming little time lapses with my phone and just uploading those, and they seem to perform pretty well. That's great. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Like, yeah, like sometimes it'll be, just like one person. Sometimes it'll be like, at least a dozen, so upwards of 25 people, and they'll just randomly just show up and say, "Hey, how's it going?" And then they'll just then they'll just check out within about a minute. But it's always cool, because you never know who you're actually going to meet. And honestly, I don't mind. I find it's cool just having somebody there. Like, even if they're not there, I've always been kind of good at just talking to myself, which is both a very useful skill, but it's also it's also like, hey, are you lonely? Of course not. Okay, maybe a smidge, but it doesn't really bother me, because like I've got like a whole bunch of stuff coming up, so I'm not like too concerned. Yeah, exactly. And I again, thank you. I absolutely mean that. Like, it's not very often that I'm able to get such a decent audience. Like, that's actually really good. Because when I first started out, I was getting maybe one or two viewers. I mean, obviously, it hasn't really gone up since then, but yeah. I think I'm getting a little bit too meta about the whole thing. It's like, who cares? It's like each episode I do of these, it's about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. Like, I started this channel like years ago, like back in the 2010s, but I kind of just left it. You ever just start a channel and you just sort of abandon it out of the blue? I've got no idea what that means, but looks a bit, how's it going? Funny. It's very much a box of chocolates in Forrest Gump. Which, when that movie first came out, people were quoting that, saying, "Oh, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And they didn't realize that that was never supposed to be profound. People were quoting that movie like saying, "Oh, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know," and they seem to have forgotten that that's not a life lesson. That is probably one of the stupidest things a human being can actually say when referring to the mystery and the ongoing wonder that is life. It's like, no, life is never like a box of chocolates, and you do know what you're going to get when you buy a box of chocolates. But yeah, the people who were quoting that and thinking they were like sounding like that was like sage advice forgot the one pivotal like character trait of Forrest Gump. He is dumb as a box of rocks. He is supposed to be stupid. Oh yeah, look. I mean, if you're hanging out and if you'd like to let me know what country you're actually watching from, feel free to. Because for a while there, I was getting quite a few viewers from the US, a decent amount from the UK, and for some reason, a whole bunch from like the Philippines, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. Algeria. Wow. Algeria. I've heard of it, yeah. It's like North Africa, is that right? Actually, I'll actually look that up. I'm fascinated. Hang on. Where is Algeria? Algeria. Oh, wow. That's like right on the Mediterranean Sea. That's heaps North Africa. Hey, how's it going? Hey there. Good to see you. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. As I was saying before, if you are watching internationally, if you're not in Australia, feel free to let me know what country you're actually watching me from. I'm quite interested. I'm just not really doing like market research or anything, but I would like to know, like, if you are in a different part of the world, let me know where you're actually watching me. Even if you make it up, it's all good. But like, honest answers are much appreciated. Yes, yes, I am. I'm glad you are also a fan of Soundwave as well. Yeah, Soundwave rules. I think also there's something mysterious and very calming about Soundwave because he does have this very cool voice and he just looks awesome as well. Like he's got this pink tinted visor and he's got like this sort of nice powder navy blue color scheme. Like he already looks retro 80s, you know, that sort of pink and blue. I started drawing professionally when I started getting paid to do this. God, how old was I? I think it was about 16. I think, yeah. I started getting like little jobs here and there. Like I was getting commission jobs at a relatively young age. Like, you know, people would go, "Oh, can you draw this for me?" Like sort of like freebies and stuff. But I would get like, you know, that they would eventually pay like a little bit, but not huge dollars. Um, but ever since then, ever since I can remember, I've always had like, you know, a creative style job along with a regular job. But yeah, I turned professional. God, back in 2002. So 22, yeah, about 22 years ago. It's been a while actually. Probably should update the old resume. Yeah, I am absolutely a fan of classic era 1980s nostalgia. But yeah, I started practicing drawing. I think I was just young and yeah. So how the story goes, I was sort of drawing on every available surface in the house as a kid, and my parents at the time they just started bringing like, you know, that they were sick of me like drawing on the walls and drawing on the throw cushions and drawing on basically any like flat surface that could, you know, have like ink on it or paint or whatever. And eventually they said, look, you're going to need some paper. So they just started bringing home paper. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, but since then, you know, I draw every day. Like I just and that's the thing. Like if you draw and you're able to just like do that amazing, cool, fun, interesting thing, even if it doesn't turn out the way you want it to, the fact that you did it is the important part. Like you've got a visual record that you can refer to and say, oh, look, here it is. I did this. This is an expression. And I am happy with how this looks. Then again, sometimes you come straight back to it and you just think, okay, maybe that could have looked better. My bad. My bad. But I don't focus for too long on really anything negative. And that's also key. That is also absolutely one of the things that you've got to keep at the forefront of your mind when you're creating anything, is just keep creating. Because you get rewarded for it. You know, within within reason, I guess. Like based on merit. You might have heard that being like that particular idea kicking around. Like, it's a meritocratic system. It's all based on merit. Yada yada, and that is absolutely true. And that is wild that someone's watching me from Algeria. Like, hang on, what time is it in Algeria? Algeria time. Oh, it's like 1:20 in the afternoon. Yeah, it's like it's 10:20 here in Australia, so, well, in Sydney at least. So yeah, that's amazing. It's like of all the random places that I'm broadcasting to. That's amazing. And that's the other thing that I love about YouTube. It's because, like, there's no, like, real barrier to, just, like, except for, like, I think you need like 50 minimum subscribe. I think that's the basic, like, criteria. I actually have to check that as well. Yeah, but like I said, I don't worry too much about AI. I think it's perfectly fine, and I think because humanity is experiencing AI in its current form collectively, we're sort of ready for it, if that makes sense. Like, we don't really have to, you know, be too shocked. I mean, if you were like maybe in a coma, and you'd been, asleep in a hospital bed hooked up to a bunch of like monitors and stuff, and you just woke up after 10 years, and you looked around and you didn't recognize anything, and then somebody told you that like AI was part of the medical team that woke you up, you'd be like, okay, that's a little shocking. But for people living right here, right now, who are experiencing, the AI revolution in real time, it's like, yeah, well, eventually everyone is kind of just gonna have to get used to it, you know. And there'll be like, you know, new regulations and new laws are going to be passed to make sure that everyone gets like a bit of a fair go and stuff. And you know, robots will be like keep advancing and stuff. I mean, I saw one that was breakdancing like Michael Jackson, and you know, it looked amazing until it tripped over its own feet and fell and face planted. But yeah, it's there's still gonna be a need for humans to do the things. So don't panic too much, guys. Because I mean, I think everybody knows someone, or at least has heard an anecdote from somewhere. Like they're saying, "Oh, you know, such and such got like their job. They lost their job to AI." And I'm thinking, yeah, but did they? Did they really? Like, I'm happy to, you know, entertain the idea that yes, like an entry level job that may have just been like just tedious, was taken by a robot. Yeah, I've seen that happen in real time, and yeah, it still blows my mind that that can absolutely happen. But something tells me there's more going on than just, you know, people losing work. And look, I get it that there are programs out there that render images more faster, more pretty, and more accurate than I can do in, like, you know, my entire lifetime times 1,000. Like, I get it. Like, my level of skill is reasonably high for what I can achieve. But yeah, you can type any prompt you want into like ChatGPT or whatever, and it'll spit out like, you know, millions, if not billions of like, you know, perfectly rendered, ready to go to print images. And, you know, you can get it pretty much for free within seconds on your phone. But that's the thing. It's like, do you congratulate the marathon runner for making it to the finish line, or do you, you know, high five the person that jumped in an air conditioned car and drove? Obviously, the person who drove is the smarter one, but the person who ran that race, who trained for it, who, you know, put in the effort, that's what gets the admiration and the adoration of others. You know, you watch a sprinter like break the record for, you know, human endurance and like running speed or whatever. And you know, you don't congratulate the person who's driving by on like one of those e-scooters. Like that just doesn't happen. And I think that's how technology makes things better and worse for everyone. Like it's better, but at the same time, it kind of cheapens it a bit. And because humans are so fascinatingly good at like getting used to things, um, yeah, in many respects, AI has gone from this frustrating, scary, wondrous new technology to just kind of whatever. Like it's still being developed at an alarming rate and stuff, and I do appreciate, like, you know, people's concerns about the dangers involved, but after a while I just think, oh, okay. But human-made stuff just became more valuable by default. You know, painters didn't, like, you know, artists and like people that draw for a living, like if we were not put out of work when the camera was invented or when Photoshop was made available, even before, like, it went from just a CD that somebody burnt for you. I sort of live alone. It's hard to describe. Like, I have a pretty good living situation, but I am looking to move relatively soon. It's one of those things where at the moment rent prices are pretty high in the part of the country I'm in. But I've got pretty high hopes that I'll find something pretty quickly. Sort of it's not a matter of if, but when. Kind of went a bit of, I got a bit special there with my tangent about AI. It's like, I don't, like, at the end of the day, like, it's cool, but I don't really care that much. But I am fascinated to see what, like, the next developments are going to be. But in the meantime, I can safely say that we can block in these other color panels and call it a night. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get it that it's still only like sort of early mid-afternoon if you're watching from say North Africa, or you're in the Mediterranean. So I try to keep each stream to about an hour tops. Like, just sort of I find the time limit keeps it consistent. And I don't have to overthink it. And finally, his cool red visor. Because he's not Soundwave without his sweet red visor. So yeah, guys, I would like to extend a warm and very welcoming thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. I'm gonna finish it off there. I will be back. Don't worry. I've got one more stream for the month of May, and that's coming up actually tomorrow. So I'll be jumping in to do another drawing session then. It will be slightly longer than this one because I want to incorporate what I did with Sketch Jam, like the big collaborative piece. But rather than keeping on, I will finish up and say thank you everyone for all the new subscribers, new followers, and I will see ya when I see you.